The picture, you can see the central band of the Royal New Zealand Air Force under their Director of Music, Squadron Leader Owen Clark, and just beyond them, the Mana Whenua. The people of Te Atiawa, their representatives here, who will welcome, challenge, and then accompany His Excellency. They are, as I say, mostly Te Atiawa people who are the Tangata Whenua of Wellington. But also we will be sharing in the tribute, the waiata of Kahurangi, a group from the Hawke's Bay, who will provide the supporting Maori welcome to their excellencies. You can see the kaikaranga there with the notable white feathers in their hair, marking them as Te Atiawa. In front, the Kaumatua, who will issue the original first greeting. He is Kura Moeahu. Just a small scattering of spectators. You can see them, some clustered under the statue of King Dick, Richard Seddon, which is right at the end of that red carpet if you carry on and go across the forecourt through the centre of the guard. There's King Dick, who yesterday, he's always got his hand raised in welcome. That's just what the statue is. So he was welcoming the Chief Justice, and there he is. 19th century, perhaps most famous, certainly one of the most famous Prime Ministers, Richard Seddon. Here, being brought down the stairs by the New Zealand Herald, Black Rod. New Zealand Herald first. I beg your pardon. It was Black Rod first, followed by Philip O'Shea, New Zealand Herald, followed by the chiefs of the Defence Forces. We have here Lieutenant General Jerry Mataparai, the Chief of Defence Force, and his assistant, the Deputy Chief of Navy, Commodore Bruce Pepperell, and alongside him the Chief of Army, Major General Lou Gardiner, and the Chief of the Air Force, the Air Vice Marshal Graham Lintott. They're here, of course, to support their Commander-in-Chief, the Governor-General, to show, if you like, that our defence chiefs are aware of their responsibilities and ready to serve the nation. It's interesting, just looking at that very smart guard from the three services, that we tend to forget that they're all of them, and I use this term advisedly, they're amateur ceremonial. In bigger countries, Australia and Britain, they have groups of armed forces who do nothing but ceremonial, who march and parade. But here, in that fine New Zealand tradition of versatility, we've got young men and women who are all of them in the normal course of events doing other excellent work for our armed services here and overseas on peacekeeping missions. So there you'll have mechanics and drivers and engineers and IT specialists and electronic whizzes and people who sail ships and fly aeroplanes and do all the many Defence Force requirements that we require of them. Today they're looking very smart. The Army in their lemon squeezers, the others in #1 rig, Navy in white, the Royal New Zealand Air Force in that famous blue. They're parading their colours, of course, because this is the most important ceremonial occasion probably of the year. So they have there the Queen's colours of the Royal New Zealand Navy and the Royal New Zealand Air Force and the New Zealand flag. They, each of them with their escort, as they stand awaiting the arrival of their Commander-in-Chief, the Governor-General. Also standing awaiting the arrival of their excellencies, but aware of it really only, I guess, by telephone or radio contact, the battery commander, Captain Matthew Ottaway, and the Sergeant Major, Senior Sergeant Aaron Taylor, at Point Jerningham, over the water, over the harbour, at the saluting battery with their 21 guns ready to fire on the arrival of the Governor-General, all part of the ceremonial notification, if you like, to the public that an important event is taking place at their Parliament. It's to let us know that that is happening, to reassure us that it is all happening in the approved way and with due legal and constitutional authority.
I wouldn't actually stay there because if the Gov's going to run, who's this? Oh no, just walking around.
We were reminiscing earlier about the days, not so very long ago, maybe 30 years ago, when great loudspeakers were erected on the roof of Parliament buildings here at this occasion, so that the entire populace could hear what was going on, again, to be notified that all was going according to due process. Now, coming up Molesworth Street, as you can see, as we look down from the fine buildings just over the road from Parliament, His Excellency, the car will just, I think, pull into Parliament grounds, and that will be the cue for the Mana Whenua to alert us all to the arrival of what is at first a stranger, but will of course be discovered to be a welcome guest. You can see in his korowai the Kaumatua Kura Moeahu. The Kaikaranga, they both greet their excellencies in a way that that only we know, the Hongi. With the support of his Kaumatua and his Kaikaranga, I've no doubt the Governor-General will have no problem making his way past the welcoming challenge, if you like, of the Tangata Whenua. But they must, by protocol, deliver it. Here's the Kaikaranga. First greeting to His Excellency comes from the Maori members of Parliament as Kahurangi challenge him. I'm not sure whether Awero is to be put in front of him. No, he's allowed to pass because you can see him now approaching his own messenger, bowing to Black Rod, a man he will send to summon the House of Parliament, and also to the New Zealand Herald, who together lead the way towards the steps in front of Parliament.